Well, you guys, it's your boy, hussleteaking. Today we're gonna today we're going to today we're reacting to not Dale May, sorry. Top 10 Lost Family Guy episode part 1 and part 2. Let's get into it.
Family Guy is one of the most famous animated sitcoms ever made. It was created by Seth MacFarlane in 1999 and was canceled by Fox in 2002, another brilliant move by them. However, due to high DVD sales and favorable reviews of its reruns, the show was revived in 2005 and has now hit 14 seasons. I've said this about Ed, and Eddie, that any good show running for roughly a decade is bound to have a few bad episodes. Family Guy, however, has had more than a couple. Like SpongeBob SquarePants, it's gone from being one of the most beloved television shows ever made to being one of the most annoying, offensive, sickening, and downright overstayed shows on television today. Family Guy used to be a great show, and its earlier episodes are still fantastic. But good fucking God, what the hell happened to it? Its episodes have gone from being enjoyably creative and well written to just being offensive and or boring. But which episodes are the worst of the worst? Well, I'm going to count down my personal top 10 most hated episodes. I just want to state for the record that I have not yet seen seasons 13 or 14 of Family Guy, so I may end up doing solo reviews on those episodes if I feel they're bad enough to have been on this list. Anyway, let's get started. Enjoy! Number 10. Life of Brian. Now, it's not on the list for the reasons you'd assume. I fucking hate Brian with a passion. I was actually happy to hear he was the one who was getting killed off. What shocked me was the backlash he got from people who most of the time were bitching about what an asshole Brian was to begin with. Some people who I know personally who are big Family Guy fans that always complained about Brian were posting "Rest in Peace Brian" and "Family Guy, how could you kill off Brian?" all over Facebook when he died. I just don't get it. I really don't. In this episode, after many close calls with death from time traveling, Stewie destroys his time machine shortly before Brian is hit by a car and killed. Unable to cope with the loss, Stewie tries to rebuild the time machine, only to find out that an important item he needs is now extinct. Trying to find some way to cope with the pain, the Griffins get a new dog, which, in all honesty, is a good portrayal of how most families would act when a pet they had for a long time dies. Stewie, of course, doesn't like this and resents the new dog, only to find out that the new dog himself is going through what Stewie went through.
Anyway, I guess Leo was kind of like my Brian.
So how'd you get over him?
Well, I met your family in the pet store. When I saw you guys looking for a dog, I kind of sensed you all going through the same feelings of loss that I was. And it made me think, hey, maybe I was meant to find these guys. Maybe we were meant to be together.
You know what, Vinny? I'm starting to think that may be true.
Now, what's wrong with this episode? It killed off one of my least favorite characters, and it even managed to do a lot of things right. So, where's the issue? Well, there are two big issues I have with it. One is that this episode is nothing more than one gigantic ratings trap. Literally 2 episodes after this one aired, they copped out and brought Brian back anyway. So there was literally no point to this episode being made other than to bring in Paulie from The Sopranos for a few episodes. The other issue I have with it is that this episode tries too hard to bring sympathy back to Brian. Brian had quickly become a public enemy to fans of Family Guy. He was a bigoted, loudmouthed, hypocritical horn dog whose sole purpose had basically become to cause controversy and drama, and Family Guy themselves touched on that before killing him off.
What I hate most about you is your textbook liberal agenda. How we should legalize pot, man. How big business is crushing the underclass. How homelessness is the biggest tragedy in America. Well, what have you done to help? I work down at the soup kitchen, Brian. Never seen you down there. You want to help? Grab a ladle. And by the way, driving a Prius doesn't make you Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, you don't believe in Jesus Christ, or any religion for that matter, because religion is for idiots. Well, who the hell are you to talk down to anyone? You failed college twice, which isn't nearly as bad as your failure as a father. How's that son of yours you never see?
So it just felt like a feeble effort to restore sympathy and compassion to a character who no longer deserved it. And because of that, I consider it one of the worst episodes of Family Guy.
You've given me a wonderful life. I love you all.
Oh, shut up.
Watching Kirk Cameron.
That's gonna be the thumbnail. So guys, comment down below. How's your day been? Oh. That is the thumbnail. Here's the clicker. No one to blame. I don't know what to say. That's crazy. We need to move and troops coming fly. There we go. We got a thumbnail.
Ow! Damn it!
Not all dogs go to heaven. Yeah, we all knew this one was going to be on the list. Like I said, Brian seemed to only be around to cause controversy, and he did just that in this episode. When Meg gets the mumps and is laid up in bed, Peter brings in an old TV that only has one channel on it. So she's stuck watching Kirk Cameron talk about God and becomes a Christian.
I was made well by the hand of God. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Here's the clicker. No one would blame you.
Peter, that's the first bit of genius I've ever heard you give. When Meg tries to get the family to start going to church, Brian declines, saying he's an atheist, much to everyone's surprise.
I mean, an atheist? That's just about the worst thing a person can be.
You're not gonna get anything for Christmas, Brian!
Guys, I'm just trying to say...
Shut up, beast! I have dominion over you, and I command you to believe in God.
I'm sorry, I just don't see any evidence.
First off, anyone's...
Brian, I've advised one character, not one character. And I remember this ever said, Brian, you fucking idiot. You met Jesus. He was in your house. You're watching 4 musicals. What more do you need? Brian, I'm surprised one. I'm surprised one character I said, Brian, you fucking idiot. You met Jesus. He was in your house. You're watching for miracles. What more do you need?
Religious beliefs are completely irrelevant to this episode, because it's already been established that Jesus is real in this universe. Secondly, Brian actually met Jesus a few episodes before this episode aired. He straight up watched Jesus perform miracles despite being skeptical, and he has the balls to say there's no scientific proof that God exists? On top of that, not one character says to him, Brian, you stupid idiot. You met Jesus. He was in your house, for Christ's sakes. What more do you need? Not to mention, Brian himself put together that God was cursing the Griffin household in the episode If I'm Dying, I'm Lying, after Peter portrays himself like a godlike figure.
There's got to be an explanation for all this.
You want an explanation? God is pissed.
Now suddenly, he's an atheist and says there's never been any evidence. Once again, showing that there's no continuity in Family Guy. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get to the real issues with this episode. After the whole town hears about Brian being an atheist, he becomes public enemy number 1 to the town, and is denied access to practically all bars in town. I may not like Brian, but even I didn't support what the townspeople were doing to him. I really don't believe that Brian is the only atheist in town either, and I don't see why he gets treated like he's Hitler for having different beliefs. Of course, Brian lies and says he's found God, probably the only time I ever understood why Brian was lying, and Meg takes him to a book burning. Appalled by this, Brian tries to talk Meg out of her beliefs by saying this.
If there were a God, would he have put you here on Earth with a flat chest and a fat ass?
I'm made in his image.
Really? Would he give you a smoking hot mom like Lois and then have you grow up looking like Peter?
Well,
And what kind of God would put you in a house where no one respects or cares about you, not even enough to get you a damn mumps shot?
oh no. You're right, Brian.
This is what makes this episode so infamous. Brian is basically saying that there isn't a God because Meg is ugly and her family hates her, and no God would ever allow that. That's probably the biggest slap in the face to Christians you can ever give, and it really highlights how poorly the writers of Family Guy argue things that they have no idea about. And despite all of this controversy, it's only my number 9 worst Family Guy episode. Oh, this is not going to be fun. Number 8. Play it again, Brian. In this episode, Brian wins a writing contest, winning him a trip to Martha's Vineyard, and is overly anxious to show Lois it. Yeah, it's one of those episodes where Brian is suddenly trying his hardest to get Lois to fuck him completely out of the blue. Well, this episode is going to try extra hard to get you to root for Brian, because Peter is going to be betrayed as the negligent husband who doesn't deserve her. Okay, well, it's going to be stronger than usual anyway, as Peter keeps forgetting arrangements he's made with his wife and keeps bailing on her, leaving her angry. Brian suggests they go to Martha's Vineyard with him to, as he puts it, watch him accept his award.
Why don't you come out to Martha's Vineyard and watch me accept my award?
I'll start packing.
What the fuck was that about? Okay, back to the review. Peter and Lois decide to ask Herbert the pervert to babysit the kids, which, I will admit, is actually pretty funny.
No cussing, clean your plates, and only a half hour of radio, and then it's off to bed.
Well, that sucks.
And don't you mouth off to me, or I'm gonna slap you right in your penis.
While waiting for Brian to accept his award, Peter once again skips out and comes in later completely hammered, once again infuriating Lois. See, Peter is a thoughtless dick for sure, but even this is too over the top. It's clear the episode is trying extra hard to make you hate Peter so you'll end up rooting for Brian. But that fails miserably because Brian makes it clear that he's intending to steal his best friend's wife, so you end up just hating both of them. After the award ceremony, Brian and Lois spend the next day together while this painfully awkward montage plays. After Peter skips out on Lois again, oh come on now! How many times are they gonna hammer this in? Yes, Peter's an asshole, we get it, but that doesn't make Brian any better. Okay. After the 1 million time this episode that Peter skips out on Lois, Lois invites Brian to a night in with her. While picking up a couple of movies for it, Brian starts to fantasize about hooking up with her and tries to talk himself out of it. But at this point, you know Brian is too weak-willed, and well...
Oh my God, Brian, no! No, stop it! What are you doing?
I can't help myself, Lois. I know you're married to Peter, but I love you and I can't stand it anymore.
Shut your bitch ass up! Brian, no!
Oh my god, that is awkward even for Family Guy. Brian starts to instantly regret what he did, as do most of the viewers who witnessed it, and goes to the bar to get drunk. Lois tells Peter what happened, and he confronts Brian.
Well, it's just, I can't help but feel a little betrayed, Brian. Lois is my wife, and, well, I mean, all the dry food I bought for you over the years?
Yeah, well, you don't deserve her, you know that?
Wait. Who the fuck are you to say he doesn't deserve her when you're no better, Brian?
Well, who the hell are you to tell me how to run my marriage? You can't even hang on to a girlfriend for more than a couple months. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Oh, you're a freaking train wreck with that crap, Brian.
Oh my god, I actually side with Peter. I actually side with the guy that this episode tried to villainize. That's how bad of a character Brian is. Well, Peter and Brian get into a fight until Nathan Lane breaks it up, and Brian tries to defend his actions.
When you have feelings for someone that are strong enough, you just, I don't know, lose sight of the rest of the world.
That's the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. If you had strong feelings for Lois, you wouldn't have tried to get her drunk and rape her. Yes, it's true that when you care about someone, they probably are all you can see. But if your feelings are that strong, you will be willing to put their happiness ahead of your own. It's definitely hard seeing someone you care about in an unhappy relationship, but what Peter is doing is no different than what he's done throughout the entire series. It's definitely more common in this episode, yeah, but it's nothing Lois hasn't dealt with and has clearly come to terms with. And if Brian truly cared about her like he claims he does, he would have seen that and wouldn't have tried that stunt he pulled. He doesn't love her. He lusts after her.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's all well and good, Peter. Now get ready. We're having dinner with my parents tonight.
Oh, right.
Anyone else notice his wounds healed? Well, Brian, of course, apologizes for what he did, and Lois reveals this.
Well, it's not like I haven't thought about it.
Really?
Once again, the episode is trying to make Brian look like the good guy, but instead, they just make Lois look like a disgusting pervert who's into bestiality.
Let me just ask you this. When these thoughts about...
Number 7. Screams of silence. Well, after failing to argue that there is no God, let's try and talk about the dangers of being in an abusive relationship. This will end so well. When Quagmire nearly dies from autoerotic asphyxiation, his sister Brenda visits him in the hospital with her horrifically over-the-top abusive boyfriend Jeff.
All right, on the way back, I get to pick the radio station because that was awful. Hey, you touching my girl?
Relax, Jeff. That's her brother.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Come on, Brenda. We got to get out of here. Come here. You fat, ugly bitch.
Is this believable? Like, do you really think abusive boyfriends are this out in the open with how they treat their girlfriends? Well, Quagmire understandably doesn't want Brenda dating Jeff and tries to get her to break up with him by blaming her. I'm not even exaggerating. He flat out blames her for not being strong enough to leave him.
The person I see before me now is just a punching bag. And I call you person and not woman because a woman is a strong, beautiful, vibrant creature. A woman embraces life. A woman...
So I'm about to go tease you and shout out to Ward one time, guys.
Oh, you are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Quagmire, you're the big brother. So honestly, if I blame somebody, you motherfucker, it's you. It is definitely you.
makes choices to make her life better.
Okay, Quagmire, fuck you. This is your sister. You're the big brother. It's your job to protect her. It's not like you have a feeling he's abusing her or you just don't trust him. He literally punches her and screams at her right in front of you, and you just sit there and watch it. If anything, it almost looks like it's just an inconvenience to him.
Been with me 3 days now, and all he does is beat her day and night. And on top of that, they say they don't need to be entertained, but then they're always like, hey, so what are we doing? What's next?
Point proven. It's like the episode is trying to say that if you're in an abusive relationship, your family won't and doesn't have to get involved, and instead they'll just bitch about it to their friends. To be fair, the family really doesn't have to get involved, but morally, especially as a sibling, you should try and be there for them, either by actually convincing them that they're better than this, or by standing up to the abuser for them. And Quagmire's intervention doesn't count, because he doesn't try to talk her out of it by building her up. In fact, what he's doing is a form of psychological abuse, meaning he's just as bad as Jeff. Over the top or not, he's abusing her mentally the same way Jeff is abusing her physically. Peter asks Quagmire if Joe can have him arrested, but Joe says he can't because she needs to file a complaint. That is not true either. Domestic abuse can be reported by the family of the victim, and the police can step in. The victim doesn't need to be the one to file it.
Sorry, Quagmire. Police policy, we can't step in until it's too late.
Yeah, cops. What are they good for, am I right? But not only does this episode fall flat in its attempts to get the legal ramifications of how cops deal with abuse right, it also fails in its attempts to teach people about abuse and how it works. Instead of showing potential signs that she's being abused, the episode feels it's easier to just flat out show it, clear cut in front of everyone, as well as showing the victim being portrayed as just a weak-willed individual who will sit back and take it.
I know, yeah, it was. I'm sorry.
If this episode wanted to get this right, they would have shown Jeff acting completely normal in person, beating Brenda behind closed doors, and even saying things to her that'll keep her quiet about her abuse and willing to hide it from everyone. Anyway, Jeff ends up proposing to Brenda, which she accepts. So Quagmire decides that the best way to handle this is to murder Jeff.
Whoa, Quagmire. You know I could arrest you just for saying that.
Oh, so you can arrest him for saying he wants to kill someone, but you can't arrest an abuser who you flat out seen treat her in ways that no cop would ever allow. When did Joe become so worthless? Well, the guys, Joe included by the way, hear and actually see Brenda getting smacked for changing the channel, and the guys rush over.
Get your lazy ass up and get my neighbor some beer!
That's enough right there. That's enough for a cop to arrest him.
Actually, we don't have time, Jeff. We were just about to go on our annual midnight hunting trip. We thought you might want to join us.
You fucking worthless pig.
It doesn't matter what he's done, it's still murder.
Well, the guys, of course, go through with their plan and kill Jeff. And Quagmire writes Brenda a fake note from Jeff saying he's leaving her.
P.S. If the cops ask, tell them that Joe, Peter, and Quagmire were with you last night. If you tell anyone otherwise, I will come back and not only hit you, but I will murder you. And no one will care because you're garbage.
Oh my god, you know, this episode is not anywhere near accurate to how abuse works. Everything about it is so far off the mark or so over the top that it's clear not a single person on this writing staff knew anything about abuse or how it works. And they were only trying to make a character so hateful that everyone would be too happy when he was killed to care. What a fucking fail. Number 6.
Before we get to number 6, I'm gonna give you guys 30 minutes to think about you guys want to see this or not. You're still here? Okay. Yeah, I can't think what makes me uncomfortable.
6.
Oh, damn it!
Fresh air. Okay. I want you to take a moment and think about the most uncomfortable moments of your life.
Yeah,
what would they be? Because whatever they are, I guarantee they won't be as uncomfortable as the full 20 minutes of this episode. You've been warned. In Fresh Air, Chris tries to get Peter to spend time with him, which Peter very cruelly tells him he doesn't want to.
But you promised we'd go fishing.
Chris, I was just lying to you so you'd go away. But if you leave me alone now, I'll give you $1 billion.
You got a deal.
Peter, it might help Chris to be able to spend some time with his father.
Well, what's in it for old Pete?
He's your son. Don't you want someone to bond with?
Okay, I want you to remember what Brian just said, because I'm going to reference this later.
Me too.
But basically, Brian has no reason to say this to Peter when he himself is just as bad. Anyway, Lois's mother calls to tell her that her father, Carter, broke his leg. Apparently acting like a child and needs someone to... Oh my God, you can see the bone. Oh. Okay. Carter breaks his leg and needs someone to look after him because his wife is doing a shoe for... Oh my fucking God, get that off screen. Oh God, this is gonna hurt. Where was I? Oh yeah. Lois tries to get Meg to watch Carter, which Meg declines. So she goes to ask Chris. Chris is distraught by his father's lack of love for him, and Lois, the caring mother that she is, coaxes Chris into watching Carter.
You know, Chris, you've got a grandpa who could use your help right now. I'm
Some
sure
people
he'd
don't
enjoy
do.
spending time with you.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Remakes.
You're not gonna kill yourself, are you? That would be a severe black mark on my record as a mom.
Oh, lady, you have no idea how black that record is. Anyway, while Chris is taking care of Carter, Carter expresses anger because he can't have sex, and apparently he's never heard about masturbation.
Let me show you something.
That was amazing.
Did Chris just teach his grandpa how to masturbate?
Cool. Hey, next time I want to try it with my hand.
Oh, my God. Let's just get this over with, because this episode is trying to smush in as much awkward, disgusting imagery as possible. After Chris's visit, Carter makes Chris his sole heir to inherit his estate, much to everyone's shock.
Oh no, my hairless twin got out.
Wait, you're what? Oh my God, what the fuck is that?
Hello, family. Let's eat all the garbage we want.
Oh God, please get Jabba the Pale off screen, I beg you. Oh, thank God. Anyway, Brian comes in and tries to tell Carter what to do with his money in a very awkward way.
I'm just saying, if it were me, I would give all the money to charity.
Oh yeah? Which charity?
Well, there are just so many that do such great work.
Name just one.
Make-A-Wish.
Poor green whale guns books. You are such a fraud.
Thank you, Carter. Glad someone else notices it.
Why won't anyone help us?
Oh, fuck you. Peter, jealous of Chris's inheritance, comes up with the plan to get Chris's money.
So if you ask me, we gotta start sucking up to Chris right away.
Or you could just spend time with him like a father should. Oh my God, what the hell did you do?
That's the deaf kid!
Oh, that was sign language. I thought he was trying.
Jealous of Chris's inheritance, comes up with the plan to get Chris's money.
So if you ask me, we gotta start sucking up to Chris right away.
Or you could just spend time with him like a father should. Oh my God, what the hell did you do?
That's the deaf kid!
Oh, that was sign language. I thought he was trying to defend himself with terrible karate.
Oh God, this is gonna be the death of me. I'm only halfway through this, for Christ's sakes. Can this get any more disturbing?
Chris, there comes a time when every man looks at his son and thinks, I want to take this to the next level.
What?
Chris Griffin, will you marry me?
I need a moment, if you'll excuse me.
Me too.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Tired of watching the horrible new episodes of Family Guy? Tired of the disgusting jokes, the awkward moments, the offensive topics, the killing of what made these characters so likable? Then come watch seasons 1 through 3 of Family Guy. The seasons that were so good, they brought the show back from the dead. The seasons where Brian was lovable, Stewie was evil, Peter was hilarious, Lois was tolerable, and Chris and Meg were normal kids. You'll see the introduction of great side characters like the chicken, greased up deaf guy, and more. the season that knew how to make dark jokes work.
Part 2.
When you advertise with Google, search ads are just the beginning. Your ads.
This video is a critique which is considered fair use under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. I do not own any of these clips. This is purely fan-made for entertainment purposes only. Family Guy is owned by 20th Century Fox, Fuzzy Door Productions, Seth MacFarlane, and David Zuckerman. Enjoy! Number 5.
Damn it!
Peter harassment. Poking fun at sexual harassment. Why not? If anyone is even capable of doing this right, it's clearly not going to be Family Guy, because they always seem to drop the ball on why subjects like this are so controversial. In this episode, Peter breaks his glasses and has to wear contacts, resulting in his boss Angela becoming smitten with him.
Yeah, this is going to work out just fine.
After that, Peter basically becomes traumatized and tells Lois about it, to which she says that men can't be sexually harassed.
What? Peter, a woman can't sexually harass a man.
Why not?
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, guys like being touched by women.
And not only that, she even does this when Angela calls Peter, and Peter is too traumatized to talk to her.
He's such a baby. I'm sorry, Angela. Peter can't talk. He's upstairs in the shower touching himself to your picture.
Okay, if Peter did end up sleeping with Angela, I don't even think it should be considered cheating. Lois is basically driving him to do it at this point. How the fuck can you do that to your spouse without any remorse? I'm not going to act like Peter himself is innocent because he himself was sued for sexual harassment for telling an offensive joke in an earlier episode. But he's stupid and didn't go as far as Angela is going in this episode. When Peter finally quits his job to avoid the harassment, he finds Angela attempting to kill herself at her house. No. Don't go there, Family Guy. Don't even think about it.
Griffin, I haven't been with anyone in 10 years. And when you spurned my advances, it was a wake-up call. No one's ever gonna love me again.
You stupid, sick sons of bitches. You're basically saying that people who sexually harass others should be sympathized. When Peter finally quits his job to avoid the harassment, he finds Angela attempting to kill herself at her house. No. Don't go there, Family Guy. Don't even think about it.
Griffin, I haven't been with anyone in 10 years. And when you spurned my advances, it was a wake-up call. No one's ever gonna love me again.
You stupid, sick sons of bitches. You're basically saying that people who sexually harass others should be sympathized with. Peter is a married man basically getting guilted into sleeping with his boss because she's desperate. Literally, the only reason she gives is that she's desperate. If the roles were reversed, the man would not get any sympathy. Hell, Family Guy themselves basically stated that earlier.
I got sexually harassed at school. My chemistry teacher, Mr. Taylor, rubbed my shoulders for 35 minutes in class the one day I didn't wear a bra.
See, Peter, that's harassment. An older man, a weak younger woman. He could have taken advantage of her, forced her to do things to him.
Workplace harassment does happen more to women than to men, but that doesn't mean a man won't suffer the same pain and agony as a woman if it happens to him. Peter ends up finally going through with it, only to get this priceless remark.
Not really, Peter.
Yeah, you cheated on your wife. No, I didn't. I used Mort. Oh my God, I forgot about Mort.
No. If Peter slept with Angela, it would not be cheating. Lois basically gave him no choice but to sleep with her because in her own words...
Peter, a woman can't sexually harass a man.
Well, you know what? If a man can't be sexually harassed, then he can't be a cheater either. If his boss is saying, sleep with me or else you're fired, then according to Lois, that's not sexual harassment. That's nothing but a job order. Peter, you gotta listen to your boss, right? Oh God, let's just move on. Number 4.
Damn it!
Go, Stewie, go. I know what you're thinking. How could an episode that has Stewie's name in it be bad? Well, in all honesty, I didn't want to put this on the list because the main story, which involves Stewie, is actually pretty good. Stewie wants to be an American version of his favorite television show, but in order to do so, he cross-dresses in a Mrs. Doubtfire kind of way. And it's really well done. It's funny, the pacing is fine, and there are a few good nods to the source material.
Hello, everyone!
Hello!
What puts it on the list, though, is the side story with Lois. Yeah, you know how I just got done talking about cheating? Well, get a load of what happens here. This is cheating. Now, Lois is easily one of my all-time least favorite characters in any show ever. Even in the earlier stages, I never really cared much for her, but she was at least tolerable and mostly easy to relate to. But she, like Brian, ended up getting some kind of character makeover, and has put in full view the kind of cunt she really is. When Meg gets a normal boyfriend, much to the shock of the whole town, Lois ends up feeling an attraction to him, and flat out plots to jump his bones. She sends Meg out on an errand and instantly comes on to him in one of the most cocky ways I've ever seen.
Let's not play games. The other day you said I was attractive. Now what are we gonna do about it?
Oh, I'm hot. We all know you want to bone me. Meg, of course, walks in on the two of them and is understandably crushed by it. I've always hated this kind of gag, when the mother wants to sleep with the daughter's crush or boyfriend. It's not a common one, but I have no idea how you can do it right. So I don't see a need for it. Lois tries to apologize, which Meg understandably doesn't accept. And even the apology is absolutely cocky.
It was an awful thing that I did. I never meant to steal him from you.
Is that what you think? You stole him from me? Are you kidding? You couldn't steal him from me.
Well, I do know a few things, Meg.
Oh my God, just fuck Lois. Fuck her. If they do another special where they kill off a character, it better damn well be Lois. Well, Meg rightfully tells Lois to fuck off. And then Lois has the balls to blame Peter for Meg hating her because of how he treats her.
I hope you're happy, Peter. Our daughter hates me, and it's all because of you.
Me? What the hell did I do?
Well, Peter, apparently you put a gun to her head and forced her to make out with the daughter's boyfriend. I don't know. How can you blame him?
You've made me feel so unattractive lately that I went and did something disgusting and abhorrent, and I'm ashamed of myself. Peter, I made out with Meg's boyfriend.
You made out with Meg's boyfriend? How the hell could you do it?
Hates me, and it's all because of you.
Me? What the hell did I do?
Well, Peter, apparently you put a gun to her head and forced her to make out with the daughter's boyfriend. I don't know. How can you blame him?
You've made me feel so unattractive lately that I went and did something disgusting and abhorrent, and I'm ashamed of myself. Peter, I made out with Meg's boyfriend.
You made out with Meg's boyfriend? How the hell could you do that to me?
Because, Peter, you've been making me feel old and fat and unattractive and worthless. How do you expect me to respond?
That is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in any show, period. First of all, I do admit that not everyone who cheats are assholes or sluts. But it's very rare that someone who cheats doesn't have a poor reason for it. If your spouse, no, not even your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, best friend, cousin, dog, if anyone you care about is saying things to you that hurt your feelings, it's your job to tell them how it makes you feel. It's called communication. If you feel like your relationship is not working, not even your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, best friend, cousin, dog, if anyone you care about is saying things to you that hurt your feelings, it's your job to tell them how it makes you feel. It's called communication. If you feel like your relationship is not working, you either talk to your significant other to try and work things out, or you end it. I know that's hard, but cheating only adds fuel to the fire, and it only makes you look like you're the one at fault. Lois's reasons, however, are so poor that I'm actually convinced she's just a pedophile and a whore. In this episode, you only see Peter insult her a handful of times, and Lois does nothing to stop it or hint to him that it's affecting her. So the fact that she blames Peter and he basically takes the blame for it is simply disgusting and idiotic. It's one of the many things that shows me that the writers of Family Guy have no idea how to make personal matters funny or even how personal matters work. This episode single-handedly made me stop watching Family Guy for a long time. It wasn't until it came on Netflix that I started watching it again, and I already regret that, because 2 of the next 3 episodes on this list I never would have even known about if I didn't start watching Family Guy again. Number 3.
Damn it!
Herpes the Love Sore. Why did you bring Brian back? Why? Nothing about him has changed, and it's clear he's only become worse since he's been brought back. In this episode, Stewie wants to become blood brothers with Brian, and Brian happily obliges, but does it without telling Stewie one kind of important detail. Brian has herpes! Not only that, though, Brian gave herpes to Chris as well in the same manner. Now, that's absolutely horrid. It's one thing to not know you had herpes to begin with, but to not only know you have them, but willingly give them to someone else is just sadistic, and it shows what a monster Brian really is.
I love HoneyBook. It handles everything from proposals, contracts, payments, everything I need on one platform.
Stop. Let's start from the top.
I'm Latasha James, content creator.
Instead of apologizing right away like he should have, he actually tries to downplay it.
Relax, it's not that big a deal.
Not that big a deal? It's a disgusting, unsightly, unsavory disease, and it lasts for life!
Yeah, but, isn't the worst thing about herpes just the stigma? I mean, like what if it wasn't called herpes? Like what if it was called Boppo? Huh? Oh, I got a little Boppo. Oh, that's cute. Ah, I want Boppo.
Brian, burn in hell, you sick bastard. The secondary story of this episode is actually almost as bad as the herpes storyline. Peter and his buddies are ruthlessly bullied by 3 guys at the Clam, their favorite bar. And after refusing to fight them, they become ruthlessly bullied by their fucking family.
I don't want it. Well, you're gonna. Everybody heard about what happened over at the Clam and how those guys made you their bitch.
Anything. I heard what happened to you with the drunken clam. I'm not doing what you tell me to do.
Meg, can you please pass the milk?
Shut up, Dad.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What the fuck is this? Who thought this was a good idea? And when the guys do try to stand up for themselves, they end up getting scolded and treated like shit anyway, only because the guys who everyone was basically pushing them to fight.
And how those guys made you their bitch.
Anything. I heard what happened to you with the drunken clam. I'm not doing what you tell me to do.
Meg, can you please pass the milk?
Shut up, Dad.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What the fuck is this? Who thought this was a good idea? And when the guys do try to stand up for themselves, they end up getting scolded and treated like shit anyway, only because the guys who everyone was basically pushing them to fight ended up being soldiers. So everyone celebrates these 3 bullies, and Peter, Quagmire, and Joe end up being labeled the bad guys anyway.
Everyone, I declare this to be These 3 Guys' Day, and not These 3 Guys' Day.
Just how much more of a mess can this episode be? Brian is a complete monster, the townspeople are hypocritical douches, Peter, Quagmire, Joe, and Stewie all go through hell through no fault of their own. There's just nothing salvageable about this episode, and there's still 2 episodes left on this list. Oh God, someone shoot me! Number 2.
Damn it!
Brian's a bad father. This is the 3rd episode. 3rd episode after Brian is brought back, and it instantly reminded everyone why they killed him off to begin with. Here's the description of this episode. Brian exploits his estranged son's fame as a television star to further his own career. I mean, you want to see a prime example of what makes this mutt such an unlikable character? Watch this episode. Here's literally the first scene you see with Brian.
Oh, crap. It's Dylan.
Dylan? Your son? I haven't heard you mention him in ages.
Yeah, I decided to step away from the whole situation.
Okay, what was it that Brian said in Fresh Air?
It might help Chris to be able to spend some time with his father.
Well, what's in it for old Pete? He's your son. Don't you want someone to bond with?
Oh, so you have the balls to scold Peter when you do the same thing to your own son. You fucking hypocrite. Not to mention, Brian gives no reasoning to why he's ignoring his kid or why he doesn't want to be a part of his kid's life other than this.
The last thing he needs is a father who's, sometimes there, sometimes not.
Really? When was the part when you were there?
Hey, if I click ignore, will he know that I'm sending him to voicemail?
Hey, see that? Stewie asks a good question and Brian totally dodges it. And I love his tone while he's talking about it. Almost like he's decided not to go to the gym anymore rather than decide not to be a father anymore.
Yeah, I decided to step away from the whole situation.
And you know what? It gets worse. When Dylan tells Brian he's coming to Quahog, Brian tries every excuse he can think of to avoid seeing him.
While, but I'm calling because I'm on my way to Quahog.
Oh, really? When are you getting here?
Tuesday.
Oh, don't say Tuesday. I'm out at the project all day.
I don't know if it's just me, but can anyone explain to me why this is funny or charming?
I got nothing on my back.
Stewie, who's ironically gone from being the only evil character in Family Guy to the only character with an actual conscience, ends up making Brian say yes to the meeting with his son. Brian, of course, flakes on it, doesn't tell Dylan he's flaking, and tries to make up an unconvincing excuse to Stewie about it.
Yeah, Stewie, I've been thinking about it, and I haven't seen him in years, and at this point, I just don't see what could possibly be gained from me getting together with him.
What could be gained, Brian? You can make your son happy, you stupid lemming. You know what was it he said in Fresh Air again?
He's your son. Don't you want someone to bond with?
You could have that, Brian. You could have a bond with your son. And I know the episode is called Brian's a Bad Father. Well, there's the issue right there. Brian is such an unlikable character that even warning the viewer that you're not going to like him throughout this entire episode just makes it not even worth watching.
I just don't see what could possibly be gained from me getting together with him.
Well, Brian very quickly changes his mind when he finds out that Dylan has become a television star. During the entire lunch, Brian tries very tastelessly to push Dylan to get him a job as a writer.
And you know what's weird? You're on a show. I'm a writer. It's almost like the universe is trying to, I don't know, make us work together or something. I don't know.
You want a job on my show?
Hey, don't put the universe's words in my mouth, okay?
Oh, if I chuckle and poorly act like I'm suggesting it, it becomes funny and I don't look like a dipshit. Dylan is, of course, reluctant, but Brian uses Dylan's longing to spend time with him to get him to agree. And Brian does what he does best. Fucks up the show, gets fired, and Dylan figures out what he was doing the whole time.
You know what, Dad? I'm starting to think that you've just been using me to advance your career. God, you're a terrible father. I never want to see you again.
About damn time.
Oh, my God, he's right. I am a terrible father.
Yes, you are. But that's not even all that's wrong with this episode. No. The side story to this episode is just as bad. Peter willingly shoots Quagmire in the arm during a hunting trip, and throughout the majority of the episode shows no remorse for it and starts showing how little he really cares about his friend. Quagmire rightfully ends the friendship, and Joe chooses to stay friends with Quagmire over Peter. Gee, I can't imagine why, but that's not all. Despite all this stuff Peter did, the episode tries to make you sympathize with him. But in all honesty, it's satisfying to see Peter depressed because he's such an unlikable asshole. Oh, but then there's this scene.
Hey, Lois, if I was going to kill myself, do I slit my wrists this way or this way?
Sideways for attention, long way for results.
Meg is right.
Okay, I'll be in the garage.
Peter, put that knife down.
Lois, I don't have any friends, so I'm gonna kill myself and get a full page in the yearbook.
Okay, let me just say first off, Peter brought all of this on himself, so he has no one to blame but himself. He makes it clear he wants to kill himself to get back at Quagmire and Joe for doing what they should have done to Peter long ago. Secondly, I know they're not the first show to make fun of suicide, but the way they do it here is so distasteful.
Lois, I don't have any friends, so I'm gonna kill myself and get a full page in the yearbook.
Suicide is the best way to get attention. This is
What's
probably
up,
the
buddy? How you
worst
doing?
joke in the history of Family Guy. And that's saying a lot. You know what? The only reason this isn't number one is because I fully believe McFarlane made this episode solely to troll his viewers because he knows this show can't be killed. Hell, even this scene after Brian leaves to go mooch off his son, this happens.
Oh, that dog of mine. That's Mike Drunk Peter. Look it up on the internet.
Family Guy, we've been on for years.
We've been on for years. Conclusion. This episode is a giant troll. Congrats, McFarland. You got us all. Before I get to number one, I just want to name a few honorable mentions. Road to Vegas. This gets an honorable mention just because of this scene.
No, kill him. He's a baby. He won't even remember he was alive.
You son of a bitch.
Ah, Stewie!
God damn it, Brian. What won't you do to make people hate you? The rest of the episode, though, congrats, McFarland. You got us all. Before I get to number one, I just want to name a few honorable mentions. Road to Vegas. This gets an honorable mention just because of this scene.
No, kill him. He's a baby. He won't even remember he was alive.
You son of a bitch.
Ah, Stewie!
God damn it, Brian. What won't you do to make people hate you? The rest of the episode, though, isn't too bad, so I can't put it on the list. Christmas Guy. This episode brought back Brian. Next. Quagmire's dad. I really wanted to put this on the list.
When things break, you look all over to find the problem. Is it the code?
What was his comment? Yeah.
This because this episode does practically nothing but insult transgender people. The only reason it's not on the list is because I don't know enough about the transgender community to accurately defend them. But I do intend on making a solo review on this episode one day. Consider this number 11. Number 1.
Ow! Damn it!
Seahorse Seashell Party. This episode is straight up infamous for one very important reason. What is this reason that makes this episode infamous? Well, I'll explain soon. The episode starts out during a hurricane. Everyone is advised to stay inside for 36 hours, and then the TV goes out. So everyone needs to find something else to do. Brian sneaks away from the family to eat a bag of shrooms, giving him some of the weirdest images you can imagine, and results in him cutting off his own ear. Why'd he cut off his ear, you ask?
I'm gonna cut my ear off to prevent World War II. Ah!
Don't do drugs, kids. While this is going on, the Griffins start finding activities to do with each other, but when Meg tries to join in, they do this.
Me too. Bang.
Oh, no one wants to get finger banged by you, Meg.
Why don't you just go do that to yourself?
You know, do people really find stuff like this funny only because it's so incredibly over the top that you don't believe that people like this can actually exist? Because personally, I can't think of any other reason something like this is supposed to be funny. After that...
Thank you. Finally, somebody who gets the video. He said, make sure you like, share. I made sure I like, share, comment down below, and subscribe. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. Thank you, brother. I want you guys to look back at my other video.
Peter suggests a sing-along and hums to The Last Crusade, annoying the family, who snap at Meg when she opens a can of soda. And it's at this moment where the most famous scene in the episode happens. Meg actually stands up for herself. Meg was always the town's punching bag. Everyone in town treated her like complete shit. But her family always treated her worse than anyone else. Her mother tried to sleep with her boyfriend and even encouraged her to commit suicide at one point. Her dad treated her like she was just a joke, and her brother never tried to help her get back on her feet and instead contributed in putting her down even more.
Chris, you treat me like you hate me, and I don't know why. You say hurtful things to me constantly. Do you have any idea what that feels like? What if I said those things to you? What if I started calling you a fat, zitty loser who has no friends and smells like an old woman who has birds for pets? Is it too much to ask to be treated with a little decency from my brother? Maybe show me some kind of kindness by not jumping on the Let's Get Meg family bandwagon?
See, those are all fair arguments she's making. Chris always treated her like crap. Only one instance I can remember him standing up for her is when they worked together in the episode Moving Out, and she loses her job because of Chris. And the only reason he did anything about it to begin with is because Lois, of all people, told him he needed to be there for his sister and stand up for her. So Chris has never willingly in his life treated Meg with any true form of courteousness up to this point. So it's really refreshing to see her tell him off for it. Lois tries to intervene and accuses Meg of only trying to blame others for her problems. So Meg does this.
Oh, I see. Is this coming from my role model mother? The shoplifter, the drug addict, the porn star, the whore who let Gene Simmons and Bill Clinton go to town on her? You're my mother, and you took a child's trust and smashed it into bits in a 17-year-long mission to destroy something that you killed a long time ago.
That's easily one of my favorite scenes ever, making a bitch like Lois cry by stating all of these true things about her. After Peter, the oaf that he is, tries to leave, Meg turns her aggression on to him. He demands Lois back him up, but when Lois refuses, the whole family starts bickering at each other, causing Peter to run upstairs and cry like a little girl. Meg, finally saying everything she has ever wanted to say, talks to Brian about it, and oh God, just watch.
Do you think it's possible that this family can't survive without some sort of lightning rod to absorb all the dysfunction? Maybe if I feel bad, they don't have to.
Wow. You know, that's incredibly noble and mature, Meg. You know, I think you might be the strongest person in this house.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Make yourself a punchy Megan. Yeah. Fuck you! Yeah, go for a perfect game on this one. Show what an ignorant asshole Brian is, actually calling Meg strong for backing out of making her own life easier so she can help out her chaotic family and make the family act extra unlikable throughout the entire episode. As if you can't already tell, Meg apologizes, basically saying she was wrong, and this right here is the exact reason why this episode is so infamous. Take your pick. Why do you hate this episode? It's boring. It's nothing but annoying filler and weird imagery. It's cruel. I mean, that's been established. Or, in my case, it actually managed to redeem itself, something I've never seen an episode of Family Guy do, only to tear it away with one solitary moment. I actually came so close to saying, finally, Family Guy is getting rid of one of its most annoying cliches. It's finally going to stop with this BS, everyone hates Meg for no reason, gag. Only to say, never mind. Let's not only keep this going, let's give reason for it to keep going. I swear to God, this right here is why Stewie is the only character I like anymore. He didn't have any stupid moments that made him look like an ignorant
Hi, I'm Stewie Griffin. Tonight's Family Guy was a very special episode about drug use. To learn more about drugs, visit your local library. There's probably a guy behind there who sells drugs.
Oh, come on!
Thank you for watching. I can't end this live yet. Thank you for everybody. Shout out to Ward. Shout out a new subscriber. What's up, hussleteaking? What's up, brother? What's up? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end this video off. Thank you for making sure we're in live for this one. Hope you enjoyed part 1, part 2, and stay tuned for the next week one coming out Monday. Monday is top 10 worst SpongeBob, and there's a bunch of this shit. So stay tuned for that. Until we see you again. Peace. I want you to listen to this video one more time. Listen to this.
Put on the uniform today and went out to get the people who are terrorizing our neighborhoods.
Rock bottle on the track, boy.